What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today is part 2 of our Paragon install. We've got Corey Payne all the way from Iowa. Flew in yesterday. We worked on the interior. We did a complete blackout kit that they're working on. It replaces all of the silver parts on the car with either carbon or a blackout piece. The only ones that they didn't have yet that they're still working on are for the window switches. We're gonna get that shortly. We also did some work on the exterior of the car. We put on some taillight overlays, blacked out the taillight. That just looks phenomenal. I love this. Now all you can see is just the red boomerangs. It looks so much better, and it actually blacks out the side markers as well. But today we're doing round 2 of Paragon's installs. We got a bunch more parts.
So round 2 is going to start with jack pads. First time the car's being lifted, but in your possession.
Yeah, very first time I've ever lifted it. I'm waiting for those pads because can't do without them.
Exactly. We actually just had the other black Z06 that we had. The customer just lifted it himself over the weekend, and he called me and he's really happy he had these because the Z06 side skirts protrude down farther than like what the Stingrays were.
You have to have them.
You have to have them. It's a must.
And then now you guys have worked with GM, and now they're Corvette branded.
Yep, and they're red, so you can't miss them. So the whole reason why we're jacking the car up is we're going to lower it down to these spanner wrenches. Probably do some measurements before and after.
Okay.
Should get a 3/4 inch drop after you lower it. So if you don't have front lift, which you don't,
Yep.
this is it. That's all you need. This and some labor.
3/4 front and rear drop.
Front and back. Yep. Then we are going to be using your car as a test dummy. We're going to be using these spacers, and they're a little bit different than what everybody's used to on the Stingray. I'll let you film what's a little bit different on it and why we're a little reserved on that, and we mentioned that in the last video.
With the Z06, they did great on the front.
Front's a lot better.
Spacing looks much better than the rears, but the rears, they're sunken in quite a bit. So we're going to try to match that up with the front.
So that's with everything with the car up. Then we get into the lighting. Your favorite wide angle mirrors.
Oh yeah,
You
those
got
are
a wider
fun.
body now. You got to be able to see everything behind you.
Have to.
And you don't have blind spot.
We don't have blind spot with the 1LZ, and we don't have the rear camera, so these are going to come in handy.
Absolute must. And while we're taking the mirrors off, you're going to get the new product you didn't have before, which are the smoked turn signal sequential mirrors. Matching that sequential in the back.
That's going to go with the smoked out tail lights. It's going to go with the whole theme, blacken it all out.
And last but not least, we're going to be putting on from our friends at I&D the yellow daytime running lights.
Ooh.
So you're going to get that very Euro car look. So we got a whole bunch of goodies to it.
We got lots to do.
We'll get to it.
All right, so we're going to do the pucks first. Really easy install. You have 4 Allen wrench and some Loctite. So you're just going to loosen this up a little bit. You're going to find the slot in your frame right under the rocker. You're going to turn it so it'll catch on. And then you'll use your Allen wrench. All right, so you see your slot pretty easily right in front of the rear tire. On the frame, you're gonna slide this in just like you did the front. Turn it a little bit. Use one hand to support the puck, the other one for the Allen wrench. The lips here on the outside. Tighten her down. We can jack it up now to lower her. Yep. On the front here, I want to show you guys why y'all need these pads, especially if you're going to be working on your car, jacking it up, doing oil changes or anything. If you didn't have that puck there, you'd be pressing right up on this rocker. So make sure you guys get yours. And if you do, make sure you guys use promo code RWD C8Z and you guys get 5% off your set. Trying to figure out how much we're going to drop this thing. 28 7/8 is what we're at.
Okay.
And then on the front, we're looking at, I would say 27 5/8. We just got the car jacked up. Corey just told me about a free mod.
Well, all you need is a plastic pry tool and a T15. This is designed for when you're tracking the car, but you can run it all the time. You're going to take off this cover with your plastic pry tool. Take off these 2 covers with your pry tool. There's 4 T15s, 2 on each side. Turn these counterclockwise. Pops out.
Oh, I like that. So the grill sends all the way up.
Yep, for track use for airflow.
So the grills that you guys come out with eventually, you guys are going to extend them all the way up?
Yeah, so our radiator grill guards are going to be all the way up. It's going to be the left, right, and center bolt in, just like our last one, 0 zip ties.
Well, thanks for showing that to us, Corey.
Yeah, no problem.
That's an awesome free mod. After you get your jack pads on, go and get her jacked up. Get your wheels off. So we got to do some stuff to set it up, right?
So all you have to do is this is a plastic sleeve. It's covering the coils.
Okay.
So it's just a protective sleeve. Sometimes there's tape on it, like right here on the bottom. So remove that, and don't be afraid if you end up, putting a divot or 2 into this plastic sleeve. To get it out without dimpling it is almost impossible. And just start walking it. Now, the most important tool of the job.
Duct tape.
And what this is going to be is that we're going to duct tape the black to the silver. Because otherwise, if you start trying to turn this with a coil, the shock's just going to spin and spin and spin. So the duct tape holds it in place. So, big one's on top, little one's on bottom. The little one, you're only going to really use twice. First is going to be to break it loose, going counterclockwise to clockwise. What we're going to do is lower that all the way down to about the last thread, turn it up just so we can make sure we see that last thread and then tighten it down. On the Z06, the springs are different. So you can see you've got spring 1, spring 2. This is a helper spring.
Oh, that's new.
Yep, so completely different, super compression. So I have never lowered a Z06 with wrenches, but Alex did. He said it's night and day difference, easier compared to the Stingray. Give it one quick turn to see.
Oh yeah. That's easy.
That is a piece of one hand. If you have the wrenches, it's another free mod.
And if you guys don't have the wrenches, you guys can use that same code RWD C8 Z to get 5% off your wrenches. We're gonna get the driver's side prepped for the DRLs, the yellow DRLs. You're gonna need a T15 and start taking out all the T15s you see on this inner fender well. After you get all those T15s out of the inner fender well, you're gonna have to jump down here, and there's a couple of 7 mils, one for the mud flap, and then 2 for the inner fender liner. So we got all of our T15s out, we got our 7 mils off the bottom, now we got a couple of push tabs, straight edge screwdriver, and you should be able to pop those out. Yep, it's working. All right, check this out, guys. Oh, it's gone, it's gone. All right, so we got our Euro yellow on the left side, we got the OEM white on the right. What do you guys like better? I really like the yellow. I think it's totally different. It looks really mean. I think at night it would look nuts.
And they look great at night.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I&D knocked it out of the park when they came out with these. We're like, yep, that's it. And I'll use your turn signal real quick. So it still does retain
the factory turn signal. See the difference between the yellow and the orange. So,
there it is with the headlight on.
Ooh, I like that, dude. And then with this all black and yellow, that's pretty cool. We're definitely gonna keep those. We're gonna pull this inner fender liner out. There we go. Next step to get to that DRL module is we need to take off a few of these brackets. This one's a little tricky to get to. You're gonna wanna get a 10 mil ratcheting wrench. Get it loose there, and then you should be able to come from underneath and then turn the bolt. All right, after you get that front one out, you're gonna go attack the 3 up top, 10 mil as well. You should be able to get to them from the bottom. So we broke all 3 of those loose. We're gonna go to the top up here, and we've got a 10 mil up top we need to take off, and that'll allow us to get to the top of those 3 a lot easier. So after you get those bolts off, you should be able to slide this bracket out of the way. It does have a wire loom attached to it. Just slide that out of the way. We just need to get to this ballast right here. After we get the 2 bolts on the sides out, we're gonna pull this ballast out. You're gonna have the connector there for the green tab. Push down on the green tab and pull the ballast off. All right, so here's our 2 ballasts. Here's our original one. This is our ballast from I&D. They're labeled Corvette 1 and Corvette 2. Corvette 1 is the driver's side, Corvette 2 is your passenger side. But you can see they look exactly the same. Cooling fins are all the same. Chips, the connectors. This is from I&D. They partnered with Paragon. If you guys wanna get yours, head over to paragonperf.com, and you guys can use the promo code RWDC8Z for 5% off of those as well. We got the inner fender liner in there. DRL should be working. That looks so cool. See the orange and the yellow difference? What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Do you guys like the yellow DRLs? Should I keep them on? I like the DRLs.
Iowa Hawkeyes, black and yellow, baby.
Oh yeah, dude, at night this thing's gonna be wicked looking coming down the street.
So we are making these from clear to smoke and from solid to sequential. And we get a lot of inquiries about that. This is hardwired in, you can't do anything. It goes down into the door. Take it, pull it.
All right, time for a little bonus footage. So Corey brought a 15mm spacer with him. They don't sell these right now, but we're gonna do a little research and development. So these are 15mm. They come with these tiny little lug nuts. This is the problem. You don't really have too much lip left to grab onto to torque down.
All right, so the reason why we're reserved right now and selling these out to the public and offering them is that this is 5mm less than what we generally do now, which is the 20mm. You wouldn't think 5mm is enough, but this is the lug nut that holds the wheel spacer onto the hub of the car. And if you see, the head of that is super thin. It has to be that thin, because if it's not, it will not. Hi, baby.
Bailey's gonna be helping us out with spacers, apparently.
You wouldn't think 5mm makes a big difference, but as you can see, there's little to no head on that to actually be able to torque it to the needed 140 foot-pounds of torque. It needs to be that thin, because otherwise it would protrude past the wheel spacer, therefore interfering with the wheel. So what you're having to do is put everything on, torque it like normal, have that little bit of head to be able to force your body weight into the lug nut without stripping it. If you were to strip this, that's going to be a problem. So we're doing some testing on this to see if it's something we're comfortable with moving forward. But this is the reason why we're currently not offering them, but we are continuing looking at it. It may be something that we have to offer extended lug studs to get spacers, but that's why Matt's helping us out with it, doing additional product development. So you can already see, see how chewed up it's already getting?
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little careful. Yeah. So I'm gonna move to another one to see before I get to a point that I have to use a hammer.
Okay. Dude, it looks so much more meaner, lower. Oh my goodness. Dude, she's ride height. Oh my gosh. Dude, it went down more. I'm getting one finger in there. The rear's about 2 fingers. You made it. You made it. Guys, she is sitting beautifully. If you guys have not lowered your Z06s, you need to. Look at that perfect stance. Oh man. No, we're about 28 to 8. I believe it was 27 like 5/8. So now it's like it's 26 and 5/8. It went down almost like an inch in the front.
And you can always raise the front back up. All right, so we were all done. We're enjoying a great dinner. We brought Lewis out here to show him the car, show him everything Matt and I did. Lewis brought up a good point. He's looking at the back. He looks at it sideways. A little sideways. What's going on? So we look at it and it's like, well, it looks like there's a little bit of camber loss. So Matt and I pulled both wheels off and we're looking, checked out the suspension. It's fine. Wheel spacers are the same measurement all the way back and forth. Took the wheel off and looked at the back side of it. And if you remember, the Stingray had kind of pockets where the factory lug studs would sit. General Motors has changed the design, so now they have these kind of more of a cavity. Well, what you'll notice, and that we hadn't, is that here's one cavity, there's the next, and the next. Inconsistencies. So when we're putting the wheel spacer on, this is how it sits. It's perfect, it torques down, there's no issues, it's not going anywhere. But for reference purposes, again, these are where the factory lug studs go. Imagine these are the factory lug studs. They sit in there, but they're not straight. So it's straight to us, and when we're tightening the wheel down, what's happening is that it's pulling it ever so slightly. It's torqued, but technically it's not right. That's why we're doing this R&D. What we're doing, or what I should say we did, is this is the end of your factory lug stud. There's a lot of area that actually doesn't have any thread. Just like on the Stingray, we talk about modifying your factory wheel studs, filing down the end of it. Because of the 15mm wheel spacer being 5 mils thinner, because of the very much cavity inconsistencies, all of this end of the lug stud, which is not used for anything anyways, is completely cut off. At the shop, we do that on our installs with a 20mm wheel spacer, so we're not going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on modifying them, filing down to 1mm at a time. We just cut this end off. As a Z06 owner, would you be comfortable doing this by yourself? I'd be curious on what you think. To get wheel spacers on your car, and we're about to put the wheel on to verify everything works, and if it doesn't, we'll let you know after this. Would you be comfortable cutting off the entire end of your wheel stud, as well as having the fighting with the lug nuts to torque them, as you saw that Matt and I struggled with because of the lack there of the head material? And if you strip it out, if you can't get this off, you're gonna run into issues. And I'm sorry, I'm not doing any more house calls after this. This is one and done on this particular thing. Would you be comfortable doing this? Please let me know in the comments. I wanna hear from you. That's what at Paragon, we don't just send this stuff out and say good luck. We want to hear your feedback. Where I have high reservations on selling these, and this is why. Let us know what you think.